Arise, champions of Tzeentch, your master calls! Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm here with a very special replay from Hot Ice Cube. A few of you have been recently asking about aspiring champions, and well, how about this? He's got a front line of aspiring champions, and that's it. So, very small model count army. Most of the model count is coming from these 4 Poison Warhounds. We've also got a number of Marauder Horsemen as well. The Herald of Tzeentch, of course, leading the way, Sartharel the Everwatcher, and we've also got several groups of Chaos Chariots. So this Chaos build is beautiful. It is at both times very wide and also very narrow, has tons and tons of options. Let's take a look at the Skaven that he's taking on. We've got tons of Clan Rat Spears. Now, just one thing to point out while we keep it in slow-mo here for just a minute. Hounds count as infantry sized, right? So you can actually face charge like Clan Rat Spears, do a ton of damage to them, and probably rout them. I don't know about rout. Clan Rats maybe not. Skaven Slaves for sure, but anyway. Yeah, for the second line here, we've got some Rattling Guns, some Skaven Slaves in the back, some Rat Ogres as well. Looks like Plague Monks also. A Plague Priest, Tretch Craventail, interesting, Warplock Jezzails, and some more Rattling Guns out on the flanks, some more Rat Ogres, and you can see here immediately the Rats having a little bit of issues here as a lot of these mobile Chaos Forces start to push through the gaps, start to get in here, tie up those weapon teams. You can see obviously wanting to protect the high value units here. And let's talk about aspiring champions a little bit as these Chaos Chariots get rolling through some of the Skaven. Aspiring champions are very interesting. They're low model count infantry. They have really good stats in terms of their attack and defense for the cost, but of course very low model count and low weapon strength within the model count. These guys individually have less weapon strength than a single model of Saurus, so that kind of goes to show why they aren't picked very much. 62 melee defense and 120 armor is pretty legit though, meaning they are very tough for low tier units to take down. You can see here the chariots and the aspiring champions mixing together to just mow through these plague monks. So a unit that's, you know, more expensive than the aspiring champions individually, obviously being just out-resourced there. As for Sartharel, of course, he can provide that Plague of Rust so that the non-AP from these guys isn't so much of an issue. He's also got, looks like actually just Final Transmutation and Searing Doom this time around. Very interesting, but we do have a big old something going on here. What is that? Wither. Interesting. Not sure about casting Wither on Sartharel since he doesn't have much armor to begin with, but that will debuff these aspiring champions who are in the area of effect. But a beautiful, beautiful Searing Doom there by Big Bird. You can see these aspiring champions, this is what I'm talking about. They will just chop through low tier units like nothing. I really think though that in order, I mean, aspiring champions are okay, they're not amazing. If they wanted to make them better, they could give them a little bit more weapon strength and give them like maybe like 2 splash attack targets so that they can chop through hordes a little bit more efficiently. Because this is awesome right here. I mean, they're definitely one of the coolest looking units in the game. I mean, look at those power swords. They got like the multi-eyed helmets and everything. They're all just, I mean, they're like super chosen, right? They're demi-heroes individually. But they're just not quite as strong as I would like them to be. Granted, this tactic here of using them to kind of force these blobs that run in here with the chariots and, you know, rear charge with the marauders just to provide the extra bodies, and then obviously throw that big overcast Final Transmutation as well. Actually working very well against the Ratmen here because they have relatively light, low defense units, and they don't have the best melee attack either. They're just not able to get through the champions as they're kind of soaked in here. So yeah, I like that quite a bit. Granted, these champions here where they get, you see where they get outnumbered by the Plague Monks, they do take quite a bit of damage. So not necessarily the best situation for them, but hopefully they'll be able to get some support in here. Looks like another Searing Doom being dropped right there, doing some great damage to those Clan Rats. They just get absolutely deleted. These Council Guard are also fighting tooth and nail. The Council Guard will be decent against the aspiring champions, but again, that 62 melee defense. Council Guard actually only have 31 melee attack at the end of the day without that bonus versus large, so they really are going to have a tough time, even that most elite of Skaven infantry, at getting through the champions. Death Runners would definitely be the best at killing aspiring champions. I think they would probably just dominate them, but you can see that the Storm Vermin with Halberds, on the other hand, actually do struggle quite badly. And yeah, Big Bird himself just doing his thing. I love Big Bird, man. Such a ridiculous looking unit model. And yeah, the chariots, again, nothing really to oppose them because the Rat Ogres are busy, you know, kind of dealing with other units. That leaves the chariots to just do their work, and chariots are very effective against the Skaven. if they're not blocked up by their own high mass units. Even if they are, I mean, in a situation like this, again, Rat Ogres versus Aspiring Champions, because of that super high melee defense, 62 melee defense versus Rat Ogres, they have, what, 43 attack with the Frenzy active, but very often they're going to be, 34 with the Frenzy active. Really isn't that great at the end of the day, right? I mean, they do have a good charge bonus, but without that charge bonus active, the champions will actually kind of grind them down, so it's an interesting matchup for sure, and I do think that this is probably the one matchup where you can use Aspiring Champions pretty effectively. I think that, I'm just thinking through the other matchups, I mean, maybe against Lizardmen, having a couple units would be okay as well, because some of their units don't have the best melee attack. Dwarves, you know, they don't have good melee attack, but they're also resistant to magic damage, and I mean, the Aspiring Champions just don't have good weapon strength or AP in general, so it's not that great there. But yeah, maybe against Lizardmen as well, like having a couple to help leadership support and just help, you know, hold the line against like Saurus and stuff. I don't know. I just think that the issue again there is that because the Saurus have so much weapon strength, like individually they have more weapon strength than the Aspiring Champions. They just, if they do make contact with that high melee defense, if it fails on the roll, then they will take a lot of damage. But here they have been able to cut through the rats, so we'll just keep it in cinematics because, again, oh man, these guys are just so awesome. Like, look at that guy. Oh man, with Big Bird as well in the background. That's just so thematic. Oh man. Beautiful. I am so excited for Game 3, guys. I know that they had that development blog recently where they were talking about the development of Game 3, and obviously Sarthorael's the only real demon we have access to right now. And obviously we'll be getting plenty more with Game 3. Hopefully the Warriors of Chaos will see plenty of updates as well. I really, hopefully, even just like in the next balance patch, these Aspiring Champions could really use some love. I would honestly just give them, again, just maybe like, not quite double their weapon strength, but maybe give them, I mean, I don't know, we'll compare them to Depth Guard, because the thing about them is they're a lot cheaper than something like Depth Guard, and just for the cost, they need to not be too absurdly powerful, right? So, anyway, Aspiring Champions able to win the day here. Oh, what a beautiful pose by Big Bird there for the finish. And yeah, big thanks to Hot Ice Cube for sending that one in. He had posted a screenshot of this build, and I was like, okay, send me that replay, please. That looks amazing. And it was as amazing as I thought it would be, so big thanks on that one. Yeah, Sarthorael, obviously super good in this matchup. Missile resistance. The final transmutation actually can blow up Skaven artillery really efficiently. And yeah, the Aspiring Champions pulled their weight as well. Not a ton of kills on them, but 46 here. 23 XP Chevron. I'm not sure if they had that before the battle, but again, just able to hold the line against all this Skaven chaff. They just didn't have enough melee attack to get through. And yeah, they were able to just kind of push through. That then allowed the Chaos Chariots, you know, kind of forced them into blobs there. The Chariots were able to charge really efficiently because of that low model count there. So actually some pretty good synergy there. The Hounds providing the meat of the army, soaking some hits, also chasing routing units. You can see some good kill totals on a couple of those. Let's see, yeah. Marauder Horseman also did a great job, so I actually really like this build from Hot Ice Cube. Very fun stuff. As for the Skaven here, I mean, Tretch, decent pick here. I would probably go with Queek and an Assassin actually right now, just because between the two of them, if you can get like the speed debuff on Sarthorael, the two of them would be able to take him down in a big hurry. Or just even using those two debuffs and then catching him with a bunch of Rat Ogres or something like that, like a Hell Pit Abomination, can work quite well also. The Rattling Guns ended up being a little bit rough here, and I don't know, I feel like he maybe just need to bring the Sword and Shield Storm Vermin instead of these Plague Monks. Like, I'd probably change up this weapon team composition a little bit, take the Natty Buboes and take the Teeth Breakers, the two Regiments of Renown, and then use the remaining funds to maybe upgrade these to what do you call, Storm Vermin with shields, just because they have really good melee defense, a lot of unit models, so they can kind of grind through some chaos units, especially if you're using Wither to debuff their armor. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. I know I sure did. Yeah, let's go ahead and actually talk a little bit more about Aspiring Champions. So if we have a look, let's compare them. The only real comparison in terms of units right now is Depth Guard, which still isn't that great of a comparison because, again, Depth Guard are, you know, more than double the cost of Aspiring Champions. So if we have a look here, Depth Guard obviously have a lot more weapon strength. Interestingly, though, Aspiring Champions don't have that much less melee attack, and they have way better melee defense. The health is also way more on the Depth Guard, so maybe that's something that they could change. Likewise, Depth Guard have 45 models rather than just 12. So, I mean, you would expect them to be, you know, more expensive, obviously, with that higher weapon strength. But I honestly think you could, because of the lower model count here, and especially the lower health, you really could give these aspiring champions like similar weapon strength, like 60 to 70 weapon strength, and it wouldn't be that bad. Give them 60 to 70 weapon strengths, 2 splash attacks, so that, you know, if they're attacking an infantry, that 60 gets split between the two of them, right? So they each take about 30. That's, you know, about in line with what they would be taking from a regular infantry unit. So really, I think that just buffing the weapon damage on aspiring champions would be good, and I do think they need a little bit of a health buff as well. I mean, obviously, they shouldn't be a super high health unit, just because, again, there's only a few of them, but, I mean, 2,000 health has to be one of the lowest health pools of any unit in the game. That's not a hero. It's comparable to just like a single hero, so I don't know. Again, I think aspiring champions are okay, but if they had maybe just like, even like 3,400 to 4,000 HP, with a little bit more weapon strength and a couple splash attacks, suddenly they would be a unit that I think you'd start to see quite a bit of again. Just take a couple to kind of give you that nice little anchor in your line. They give you that encourage. The Vanguard on them is completely useless. I don't know why they even have Vanguard. But anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this talk about aspiring champions. I know some of you guys have been asking about them, so there's my thoughts. You won't see me use them super often. I might bring 1 or 2 for the leadership support, but again, Skaven, with a build like that, I actually think that maybe they can work. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you want more, and we'll see you next time.